Guys, I'm gonna tell you something. Over the next 4 years, the only thing that I want from politics, if nothing else, is to get some damn consistency. Okay? Everybody in politics right now is so inconsistent. Okay? And I at least try to be consistent. Okay? Like, for example, Trump comes out and says he wants $2,000 stimulus checks, and I go out here, I make a video, and I cheer that on. I say, that's a good idea. That's a popular policy. That's going to win over people on the right and the left. That's going to be good for Trump. Hey, I'm cheering that on. Now, if Biden comes out and says that he wants $2,000 checks, I'm not going to turn around and then start bashing Biden because he wants $2,000 checks just because it's Biden, right? That would be inconsistent. That would mean that I have no ideology and I have no principles outside of just Trump. Okay, that's what it would mean, right? And I can openly and freely admit that because I have no problems with trying to be principled and consistent on issues, right? And I really do wish that more people would be like this. I really do wish that the Democrats and Republicans, conservatives and liberals, I really wish they would be. Because I feel like if both sides were consistent in their principles, we would be at a lot better place in our country politically, right? Now, one side I want to call out today is the BLM / Progressive Caucus of the Democrat Party, in particular, Cori Bush. Because Cori Bush has been going so hard against MTG. She's been so outspoken against the Capitol protest riots, whatever you want to call them. And, you know, she's basically tried to make a career out of it, right? Just like a lot of all these other politicians do. They're trying to create their brand around this event, right? It's typical left-wing grifting, okay? And I knew that this is what was happening. However, she really started to tweet things over the last few days that just really irked my nerves because it's just like, you're not even trying to hide the grift. And what really makes me upset is that I know she's going to have people that are going to support her and not call her out on this obvious grift. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at GForemanBCP. Let's get it. All right, guys. So, Cori Bush, who's a member of Congress, she's a representative from Missouri. Okay, she was a part of Black Lives Matter. She's an activist. You know what we're getting here. She tweeted, right, a shirt that says, "We are banging to the end," right? And she is selling this shirt in her store, and those proceeds from selling the shirt goes to her campaign. Typical politician grift, okay? But what really irked my nerves about this is that this "we banging to the end" quote shirt is a reference to her so-called traumatic experience.
My life matters. And then they hit us with things like this. And so I remember sitting in the office with my team and just thinking to myself, I feel like I'm back. At this very minute, I feel like I'm back. I feel like this was one of the days out there on the streets when the white supremacists would show up and start shooting at us. This is one of the days when the police would ambush us from behind trees and from behind buildings, and all of a sudden now we're on the ground being brutalized. It felt like one of those days, and I just remember taking a second thinking, if they touch these doors, if they hit these doors the way they hit that door, if they hit these doors and come anywhere near my staff, and I'm just going to be real honest about it. My thought process was, we banging to the end. I'm not letting them take out my people, and you're not taking me out. We've come too.
I'm consistent on this. I am one of the conservative commentators that I have not put down anybody's feelings in regards to what happened that day, right? I've acknowledged anybody that is upset, or they feel like they was in danger, or they felt like their lives were in danger during that day. Hey, I 100% get it. I acknowledge your feelings. I am sympathetic to that. But what gets me is that when you start to take that traumatic experience that you said was a life-changing experience. Essentially, your 9/11, which I 100% sympathize with. When you start to take that event and then you want to capitalize off of it and make shirts, right, to sell to people, to go and donate to you, that's when I have a problem. Because now I have to question whether or not your feelings are actually your feelings. And I don't want to do that. I obviously don't want to do that. I don't think that's right. I don't think people should do that because, again, we all saw what happened. But see, even somebody like me who's given the benefit of the doubt, when I see something like this, along with the fact that BLM, a group that she supported and probably been a part of, has sucked up $10 billion, reportedly, and has done nothing with it. And she's right along with that grift, right along in the same lines, selling shirts, trying to capitalize off a so-called traumatic experience. Her words, not mine. I have a problem with this. And it's not like I'm against her making money. It's just, don't sit here and try to make me boo-hoo and cry over you being in a situation like that, right? And using that to demonize and smear a whole group of people who particularly had nothing to do with it. And then you turn around and you're trying to make money off this event. Again, it's the consistency. She also supposed to be so against riots and violence, which I'm 100% against. I've condemned both sides for it. I'm consistent on that. She also has came out and supported inmates who were rioting in a St. Louis jail. Okay? So let's read here a little bit. A Democratic Congresswoman from Missouri sparked a backlash over the weekend when she wrote in support of rioters at a St. Louis jail. Inmates at the City Justice Center broke windows, started fires, and tossed debris onto the sidewalk for hours, beginning early Saturday morning after a prisoner and a guard got into a scuffle. The arrests continued until guards using tear gas took back control of the facility. Quote, "A riot is the language of the unheard," Representative Cori Bush wrote, quoting the Reverend Martin Luther King. Quote, "I want to talk to my constituents in the window. Their lives and their rights must be protected," Bush said. Quote, "My team and I are working to ensure that urgent needs of people who are incarcerated are not ignored." Okay, so now you're supporting riots, but you don't support what happened at the Capitol. You're saying what happened at the Capitol is wrong, which it is. It's wrong. I want to make it 100% clear. I don't support it. But how is it that you can support this jail riot, but yet you demonize everything that happened on the Capitol? And I know the answer to that. The answer to that is because she doesn't feel like those who had issues, right, that led to what happened at the Capitol, she doesn't feel like their issues are legitimate. Okay? And see, this is the problem with our politics, guys. Our politicians don't feel like a certain group of people's issues are more legitimate than the issues that they believe in. And see, this is why we're not going anywhere. This is why we become more polarized. This is why we've headed in the direction that we've headed in. Because people only want to be in their own bubble, right? Cori Bush believes that these prisoners are living in terrible conditions. They've been wrongly incarcerated. Terrible things have happened to them. They got the ish end of the stick in life. Okay. And because of that, she thinks that what they're doing is justified. But she doesn't believe that the concerns of those which led to what happened at the Capitol, she doesn't believe that that's legit. She believes it's fake. And what I'm saying is that whether or not you believe that it's fake or whether it's real or whether it's legitimate, as a politician, as somebody that's supposed to represent the people, you should still acknowledge those concerns. And that's the problem with the Democrats. They don't want to acknowledge the concerns. They just want to ignore it and say, okay, anybody that supported Trump, or have issues with the election, all those people, they're just crazy. They're crazy. They're beyond the pale. You can't help them. There's no need to even worry about them. But see, when those concerns elevate into something that could turn into violence, now all of a sudden they want to act appalled and surprised and scared for their life. When the concerns were there, again, I don't support it. I don't think it was justified. I don't think the violence is justified on either side. Okay, I just want to make that clear. I'm not supporting any violence whatsoever. I am denouncing it on both sides at both events. Okay? And see, that's what bothers me about these so-called leaders. They don't know anything. They only care about leading those who believe in what they believe in. They don't care about reaching out to those who don't agree with them. They don't care about trying to change people's minds. Right? Like, this is what politics is supposed to be about. Politics is supposed to be about debate, right? The exchange of ideas. But you're not interested in exchanging ideas with anybody unless they 100% agree with your worldview. And like I said, I just want to make it clear. I want to make it clear. Violence on both sides is wrong. Okay? I don't think those people in jail should have been rioting. But a consistent view, right? If Cori Bush was consistent on this, because you can't say that you support riots when prisoners do it, but you don't support riots when people on the right do it. No, you can't get away with that. That's not consistent, because obviously you support BLM, so we know you support riots. We know you support protests. Just be real. If you're not going to be consistent, come out and just be like, you know what? I only support it when it's for causes that I agree with. That's the only time I support it. If you said that, hey, you know what? I'd be like, well, at least she's coming out with it. However, if she wanted to be consistent, like I was saying, she would just be like, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say I don't support riots and protests, because that's what BLM did. But I just don't think that the concerns of those who did the Capitol riots, I don't think that those are legit. But I can't say that I don't support riots and protests. If Cori Bush would have said that, I would have been like, you know what? I'm not even mad with you. I disagree, right? Because I don't think you should support any one of those. I don't think Martin Luther King would support any one of those. Matter of fact, in that same quote, the same speech that she got that from, he specifically said, I would hope that there will be no riots. And I will hope that it will remain nonviolent. So she forgot to mention that part of it. She forgot to throw the nonviolence part in there. See, and that just tells you what the agenda of these people are. I just tell you what the agenda is. They're only concerned about their worldview and what they feel is justified. They're not principled about whether or not they support protests and riots and violence. They're not principled on that stuff. They will use any means necessary to get what they want and demonize the other side for things that they don't even particularly care about, except the fact that they don't think that their cause is legitimate. That's it. Again, you know, if she would have been consistent on it, I would have been, all right, cool, at least you've been consistent. But she can't even be consistent on this issue. And that's what really bothers me about politics right now, is that everybody's just playing for a team. Nobody actually has any real principles. Nobody's actually standing for anything real. Everybody's just like, nope, I'm on this team. I'm going to play for this team. And I don't care if I'm inconsistent. I don't care if, you know, I'm applying my standards differently to other people. Right. And that's what really bothers me about the Progressive Caucus, because they try to act like they're above everybody else, that they are morally above everybody, and that, you know, they know what's right, and what they're doing is justice. They're fighting for justice. But at the end of the day, they're not fighting for justice. They're fighting for what they believe is justice. They don't care about anybody else's idea of what justice is. They don't care about that. All they care about is what their idea of justice is. If your idea of justice doesn't fit what their idea of justice is, then they think that you're going to be wrong by definition. And that's not the way our politics should operate. We need more consistent politicians who actually have real principles. They're actually consistent on these issues, right? And Cori Bush just really irked a nerve here, because, you know, a lot of people like to call out conservatives. Oh, you just grifting off Trump. Trump hasn't been on social media, right? I'm still making my videos, right? I'm still talking about politics. I like politics. But nobody ever calls out the grift from those like Cori Bush, who's obviously grifting off this. She's obviously trying to make money off BLM. She's trying to make money off social justice. She's trying to make money off what happened at the Capitol. She's trying to make money off all that, right? She's trying to elevate her brand solely based off of all this so-called social justice. That's what she's trying to do, and it's so obvious. You selling a shirt saying "we banging to the end." I thought this was supposed to be a tragic event. A tragic event like that, the last thing I'm thinking about is selling a shirt to try to make some money off that event. A month removed. So it's, you know, it's just sad, man. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.